Wanna be loved by you, I wanna be loved by you, cause I wanna be loved by you, I wanna be loved by you.
To Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to ANZ Challenger League season number 10. We're here for Playday number 6, and joining me for this evening's matchup between Homeless and Reed Migration is Red. It's his first Challenger League broadcast, so how's it going, my dude?
I'm doing really well, man. Thanks for having me along tonight.
No problem. Well, let's jump straight into it. We'll have a quick look at the teams that remain unchanged from previous weeks, but to run you through it, it will be Stiggs, Hayward, Strider, Dino, and Arlo for Homeless, and Sajion, Bundy, Lucifer, Pun, and Norden for RMA. Anyone a standout there for you, Red?
Not particularly, but if I was going to lean towards one team over the other, I'm probably going to be leaning a bit more towards Homeless tonight. That's just my feel of it.
Yeah, well, looking at the standings, of course, Homeless are third and
Yeah.
RMA unfortunately are last. So
Yeah,
on
it's a bit of
paper,
a.
yeah, Homeless are looking quite strong heading into this evening. It will, of course, just be the two BO1s this evening, but we should be able to jump into the veto hopefully very quickly, and we'll see where we're going for map number 1. Any maps that come to mind, Red, when we think about these two teams?
Well, they've been both, or not both, been banning, but Remigration been taking out Villa a lot of the time, same with like Cafe and Coastline. So highly unlikely we're going to be seeing those sorts of maps. With Homeless, it's leaned towards Border, Villa, Coastline. This coming across the same sort of like bands at the end of the day. If I was going to say what they're going to be playing, more than likely leaning towards probably one of the season 1 classics, maybe like Bank, Consulate sort of thing.
All right, well, let's have a look at where we will be heading for this first map when it comes up onto the screen, and it will be Consulate. So that will be the map that's left unbanned. Any quick thoughts as we start to prepare for the game as to how this is going to go for either team?
At the end of the day, it could just come down to who gets the defender first, but I think that Homeless is going to take a strong lead more than likely. Previous games we have seen pretty much only have problems with rhythm, really, and at the end of the spectrum, Reed Migration, 4 maps, 1 tie with 3 losses. So I think, as I said before, Homeless is more than likely not going to steamroll, but run for their money.
Yeah, looking at the pre-match lobby quickly, it will be Homeless that are on the attack. So I feel like that could have a little bit of a bearing on how this plays out, of course. I think all the maps at the moment, if I have a quick look at my stats, I've been tracking the maps. All but 2 maps are defender-sided. So Bank and Clubhouse are the only 2 attacker-sided maps marginally. But if you look at Consulate, that's got a 67% defense win rate at the moment. So Homeless definitely are up against it at the early stages for the first 6 rounds. But I feel like if they can sort of just hang in there, they should be able to come home pretty strong in that second half.
It's good to see a pretty good underdog story at the end of the day. We'll just have to wait and see how it pans out, really.
Yeah, well, I guess sort of harping back to the team lineups, I was looking here at my good old trusty stat sheet, and I think there's really 2 key players to keep an eye out for this matchup. The first from Homeless will be Stiggs. He's currently leading their kills per round at the moment, sitting on 1, which is really up there in terms of the entire Challenger League. So not only is he quite a fair way ahead of the average for RMA, but overall he's looking quite strong. And then over to Sajion from RMA, he's at 0.92 kills per round. So both those players are probably going to be quite critical, particularly in those early rounds when they're trying to gain that early momentum. And if Stiggs can really stand up here of being on that attack in that first half, I think that should set them up all right here.
Yeah, I think it could also come down to just that maintaining a good mentality on the game. Like, as you said, whether or not they get that good momentum going. Remigration, being a newer team, could have a bit more trouble maintaining that, as I said, good mentality going into it. And even if you are losing, still going ahead and trying your best to like maintain that pressure and, go for that comeback if you need to.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you mentioned that RMA a little bit more formed. If you are new to ANZ or Challenger League, Homeless in this current league is one of the more experienced teams. They've only undergone one major roster change recently when Hills departed from the team and Arlo replaced him. Other than that, they've been a pretty strong unit recently. I mean, if you look at their recent form, they only just lost to One Freak at the Masters 2019, our national tournament on land, so they played quite well there. And they actually only just narrowly missed Pro League in Season 9 of Challenger League. They missed out by one spot. So they're out here to definitely prove a point. And so far, they're looking like they should be a pretty decent chance.
Yeah, they've been climbing their way up the ladder. As I said before, they only really had problems with rhythm in one of their earlier matches. Outside of that, though, holding on strong, and more likely we will be seeing them, in that more competitive scene in the future. Just have to wait and see.
Yeah, as the players are still just filing into the lobby, so maybe I guess we can sort of touch on RMA, give a little bit more background to them, because as you sort of said earlier, they are a little bit newer, a little bit more unknown. It was actually a little bit hard to find some information on this team heading into Challenger League, but in the CL Open qualifiers, so basically anyone can form a team, enter the quals, and try and make Challenger League, which RMA have. They finished 4th, and they only narrowly just made it in. So that was a little bit lucky in some terms on their part, but they were in that top 4. They made it here, and then yeah, not much else to go off in terms of recent form. I looked at their ESL page, and their first Go 4 as their team name was in April, and so I haven't really heard much of them since then. Apparently, they are going through a little bit of a developmental stage, so they're still sort of learning and sort of trying to work as a team. And synergy is something that they sort of mentioned as being critical, and something that needs to be built up on over the course of Challenger League, because I think that can be a big determining factor in who is successful and who isn't, because teams that even are successful in Challenger League and make it to Pro League and don't have that synergy can really struggle.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, as you said, they are still an up-and-coming team, and just at the start of their career, actually getting into those sorts of like the qualifier games and whatnot, making it through to this like play style. At the end of the day, that's still something to be celebrated, regardless of their outcome. And they've done well for what it is, but they still need. I think they could turn around and become a really good team. We'll just have to wait and see. At the end of the day, they're still got a lot to learn, and that just means that they could go really far.
Well, unfortunately, guys, we are having some tech issues. One of the players having some issues getting into the lobby, so we will head to a quick break and sort that out. We'll be back in just a moment.
Intenté descifrar el porqué. Ya no estás. Duele más entender que te vas.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for that slight delay there. We had some technical issues on the side of Homeless. So we are going to see Hayward rather, be subbed out for Kata. Is that correct?
As far as I'm aware, yeah, Kata's
Yeah.
coming in to pick him up on that one. Weren't sure if they were able to actually get in a sub there for a little while. It was looking a little bit concerning, but thankfully they got somebody in. We'll be able to see these matches play out. We are getting into the banning phase, though. What are your predictions, big fella?
Well, that's Thermite and Cap off the board. Nothing too strange today. I'm probably expecting an Echo Mirror combo for the second. That's been the two most popular bands so far, so that'll be one of the duo. And I'm expecting Mirror to be followed up closely.
I was going to say, there goes your first pick. See if you can get the second one off. Probably going to double you up on that one. Say the exact same thing. On Consular, both very viable to take off the board. A Valkyrie pick also very strong to be taking away from the defenders. That's definitely going to be helping out with keeping a tight eye, but at the same time keeping the mirror on the board. Depends on how you want to play it at the end of the day. For those split sites in the front door, I guess it can be a bit more impactful.
Yeah, interesting to note as well, that isn't actually the only sub of this evening. So RMA have actually brought Mop back into what I've been told is the original lineup of the team. So they made the change to bring Norden in for Mop pre-qualifiers from what I've understood. And then they have now reverted that change, hopefully for the better. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. Not exactly sure what Norden's role is on the team and how Mop's sort of going to come in and transition into that. But if that was their original roster before, I think it should be a pretty smooth transition.
Well, hopefully taking away from that, we can probably see a bit more of a tight-knit team coming out of RMA, if it is in fact like bringing back in one of the OGs. Better communication at the end of the day, better playmaking. Hopefully that can give them that little bit more of an edge that I'm going to say they're going to need, just because of their positioning that they are currently in the tournament. We did see, interesting, the Jaeger into the Clash pick, though. I understand on the Garage, just how he's going to be really utilizing it is another thing. Cheeky Maestro Cam just by the garage door. How do you see this push? They're going to play top-down, you reckon?
Yeah, probably expecting Homeless, one of those teams with pretty good synergy, to try and execute that. That Clash pick, despite being quite rare on this site, could well throw Homeless off here, and I think that might be the approach that RMA here try to take. They need to try and throw things at Homeless that they may not have seen before in scrims or other matches, and try to throw them off a little bit. I guess having Kata subbing into the team, their team manager, someone that doesn't normally play with the team, is already probably thrown them off enough against a roster who now has their original lineup. So I think the more that they can sort of throw at Homeless that they won't expect, probably the better. And I guess a Clash is one way to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty much as far left field as you can get. We are seeing a lot of movement up on the top floor as they try to get control of the blue stairs area down into lockers, make sure nobody's in there. Interesting that Jackal, not only is it still up, but is being utilized very well. You do end up seeing sometimes that, even if it isn't banned, you don't see teams picking it up, even though, you can clear this out. This is a really nice play that we're also seeing. Saw this on Twitter from Macy J, the Hibana trick. I like it, but at the same time, I don't. I feel like if you cut the top first, right, you could save one of those pellets.
And it looks like, yeah, I think it got electrocuted there. So Bandit, I believe, has electrocuted that wall, and Stiggs wasn't in the position to cover that. So Strider's now already wasted two of his pallets. He'll drop to a nice shot from Sajian, and they're now at the deficit, and with no hard breach really, except for that Maverick, which is limited in its usage if it's being watched.
Yeah, as I was saying, the not the greatest utility of it. It's a nice idea, and it's good that they're utilizing and or using new strats, but it still has too many flaws in the mix-up at the moment. Especially with like Clash on the board, you can't get somebody into yellow. They hard pushing you down, Gonna come around. We are seeing Mop hiding around in archives. Whether or not they're gonna find him, Dino coming down. White stairs into lockers. Might get cheaply picked off, or just barely misses him as Mop takes him out with that headshot across the way. Stiggs having a really hard time cutting that wall open.
Yeah, Homeless now with 20 seconds to go. That's Kata off the board as well as Mop secures his double. So it's a 2-on-5. Maverick and Thatcher on the board. Stiggs tries to run up yellow, gets lit up in the process, and together they need to try and kill 5 members. Stiggs will get the ball rolling with one, and Arlo gets another onto Bundy, but he gets traded out by Mop, who gets his triple, and now Stiggs needs to try and get through that barbed wire, but he won't be able to. RMA taking round 1 pretty convincingly.
That was a very, very clean round coming out from RMA. They played it really well. Mop just absolutely popped off. I think that was a really bad mishap coming out of Homeless. They did have the utility to drop into like the archives long area, but they just didn't take that opportunity, nor really cleaning it out, just hard pushing straight through. Time wasn't on their side, yes, but you've got to, dot all your I's, cross all your T's. You can't just run in. And that really played off for them. Now, 0-1, round 2. Pulse into Vigil. Interesting little cheeky pick, seeing as we did see Mop roaming already, and they're going to be doubling up on that more than likely.
Yeah, I guess at least this round Homeless have the advantage that hard breach isn't going to be as critical as that bottom bomb site. We still have a lot of trouble in getting that wall open down the bottom. I guess that thermite ban really coming into play there. They were forced onto the Habana and the Maverick. They didn't quite make that work. So I guess they have the advantage of upstairs not really being a viable site to pick thermite. They do bring the Habana to try and probably open up the A wall and create some angles behind the bench there, but other than that, they shouldn't have as many issues on that entry towards the side as this one plays out. A little bit more traditionally and doesn't really need that hard breach as much as Garage does.
Yeah, it looks like they're going for a bit of a standard hold on yellow, potentially playing somebody on the edge there with the shotty, just so you can get that cross angle into the main office or the CO area. But Homeless looking for a hard push into office copy room. But it's good to see that they're also taking people elsewhere. Luckily, the Nomad shooting her trap down the bottom. A lot of people actually don't take this on board. If you do shoot the Nomad traps up on those top windows, they just don't go off. Doesn't do anything, unfortunately. So you really have to make sure you're placing them well. Homeless getting into admin office fairly quickly, even though it did take them 40 seconds. There's a decent amount of the map control coming out from them.
Yeah, definite admin take from Homeless at the moment. I'm expecting the ACOGs from the side of Homeless to help hold this long desk. Dino will be holding that with the M762 on that Sophia, of course. Using a lot of utility early here, trying to flash out anyone that could be in that hallway and waste any of those ADSs, as Dino will continue to try and waste any utility that they have placed there. And I think this will now be the stage where we see Strider come in. He'll probably get that wall open in towards A if there's X-Kairos and try and flush anyone out that could be sitting in there, and hopefully he can go in and get the plant. Those mute jammers, meanwhile, causing some issues as Dino tries to drone the side. A heavy yellow hold and B hold here for RMA, and they'll need to be mindful. If Homeless pushing towards A here, they could be put on a real hard retake.
Yeah, Mob's going to have a real hard time against him, holding from Connector, whether or not he can contest. He's got a couple angles that he still has to hold. Dino's coming in, and he's going to hold that cross angle onto Connector, and whether or not Mob can contest it or not. Multiple C4s are down, but we do see Bundy just holding that cross angle, but Mob being taken out, dropping it down to a 4-5 deficit. I don't think Dino knows that Bundy's right there as he comes around, gets that shotgun pick, but there's immediate trade by Sticks taking out Sagon, but back-to-back Kata taking out Bundy.
That leaves it now with Lucifer and Pun. Lucifer gets one there onto Kata, so it's the team manager now sub off the board as Stock and Smoke now need to try and clutch it up. Arlo though will get Lucifer, and now Pun is in a 3-on-1 scenario, can't even get the first, and Homeless will take round number 2 on what has been the most defender-sided site in the entire game this Challenger League season. So props to Homeless for bringing that one back.
Yeah, it was unlucky at that ending point with Smoke trying to do the cross with the SMG-11. Hard to control the recoil of that at that range. Probably not the greatest angle you want to be contesting, but in a 1 versus 3, was it? Yeah. It's not a lot you can really be taking away from that. A lot of your smoke babes were down. You got to make do with what you got. At the end of the day, though, them taking away that attack pretty much puts Homeless, even though it is 1-to-1, that gives them the advantage. Just because obviously when it swaps sides, defender sided, as you did say, and at the end of the day, if they can just bring it home, which they have statistically, they should. Statistically. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Looks like Red Migration going for a pretty similar defensive hold here, and can't fault them too much in their setup and their preparation from the previous round. It really came down to Mop being dropped quite early there, giving Homeless that early man advantage, and then they could play for refrags, particularly in through A. We saw the shotgun being used to hold the door at the top of these stairs there, but unfortunately, too many members of Homeless were flooding in and they were able to eventually get that refrag. So hopefully RMA can try and keep 5 on the board for a bit longer here and adapt their hold just a little bit. We saw it heavily favouring Yellow Stairs in the previous round, despite Homeless taking cleanly from admin, and it looks like they will be setting up to do the same here. So hopefully RMA can adapt to that, try not to lose that early man, and they should be in a nice position to get the 2-1 lead.
Yeah, doubling up on what you said about Yellow Stairs. With the Vigil, they did have 2 members. They had Moth and Sagon playing on Yellow Stairs. They had the Vigil. I'm assuming it was a bit of a bait to like have the double up in the event, like you have your rush around on there, but obviously no push going down there means, you know, that's just a wasted effort at the end of the day. Vigil's kit only works so far on roaming, and it didn't pay off in the way that they really wanted it to. They swapped it out for the Mozzie this time, which is really good. Doubles up on the mute jammers, slows down those cameras coming through and finding out where the guy. Though on the other end of the spectrum, Homeless has already played through this once. They have a good idea of where everyone's going to be roughly sitting. That shotgun trick probably won't work twice.
Yeah, I like that information game that RMA are playing, as you mentioned, as I feel like Homeless here, we're trying to do the same. We've seen Kata on this Jackal all 3 rounds so far, and they're a team that are known for their synergy, and with that comes a lot of droning and pre-planning. Sejion, though, from below could get a C4 kill, so that'll be Stride off the board, and that's the one and only hard breach. Kata has been downed as well, but Sejion won't know that just yet, so he should be able to get the pickup. But it's basically been a reflection of the last round. Instead of Homeless getting that early round advantage, it looks like RMA now doing. Without that hard breach, it's going to be really hard to recover.
Yeah, and RMA really taking advantage of those C4 plays in the last round. Dino nearly got clipped off as he peeked this long hallway dash. The C4 came down and, you know, nearly took him out if he took a couple of steps in the wrong direction. Comes around the corner, doesn't quite see Bundy, but wait and see whether he comes around and clears this out. There's still a Jaeger trap, I think, in the room that's preventing him from doing a thing. Lucifer holding the cross angle from the bathroom. He's not able to quite get into the room. Oh no, Lucifer's rotated over to the Yellow Stairs, back and forth, holding these long angles, really holding Bundy's flanks. Oh, he comes out, and Dino goes down to Bundy. It is now 35 seconds on the clock, 2 versus 4. Health deficits are everywhere, and it's all up to Stiggs now. Finds the first pick onto Bundy. Will he find any more? 1 versus 3, 23 seconds. He finds the second onto Pun. Can he find the more? He's going crazy. Stiggs takes out Lucifer. 1 versus Sagon. Can he find him? The diffuser is on the other side. And Sagon slowly making his way up the stairs.
Yeah,
Rotate.
Stiggs down. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think he's going to find him. I don't think he has time to get the diffuser down. Is he going to get the cheeky plan? 0 seconds remaining. Oh, just gets it down. And I think he's going to get it safely as well.
It's now a post-point scenario for Stiggs. He needs to try and hold this diffuser as Sagion trying to make his way through the rotate. Stiggs probably with the advantage, and he'll get the kill. A fantastic clutch up there from Stiggs will help secure Homeless's 3rd round. A round that looked very dire at the beginning, but he brings it back, and wow, that's a way to do it in style. Pretty good round there, though, for RMA for the most part. It's just unfortunate to lose that man advantage so late in a round that looked so good. Stiggs just showing his fragging superiority, and we sort of touched on that pre-match. He's currently got one of the highest KPRs, kills per round, of the entire Challenger League this season, so definitely a force to be reckoned with. As we see him actually jump onto Buck as a team that will jump onto the Nomad, so I guess Stiggs flexing his adaptability a little bit there, not stuck on just the one attacker, and as RMA head back to Garage, we're going to have to try and see them replicate that successful defense earlier. Because I have a feeling if that wall gets open, they're going to find themselves in a lot of trouble.
Well, going back to, you know, the objective that worked for him is probably the way to go at the end of the day. They had a lot of not good plays at the end of the day. I think as long as Homeless don't get too greedy and utilize their time a little bit better, I think they can take this round. Though the Clash pick, yet again, not going to throw them off, but I still think it's really good utility bringing it to the board and is going to slow down this push significantly as long as they can maintain the Bandit on the main wall.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how Homeless try and take out Clash. They do have the Nomad, but they don't have the Sophia on this occasion. Sophia is a really strong operator to enable the disruption of that shield to kill her, but Nomad as well with those air jabs can be quite successful, provided that they aren't taken out, as they do take a little bit just to activate and only have a limited range. So both play out quite differently, as it looks like Homeless will be going for a back push, and again it's going to be on RMA, who have set up for a heavy garage take or garage hold to try and adapt to this. If Homeless sweep in from behind, they could find themselves in a bit of trouble here, and that A-bomb could be quite exposed.
Well, they are still utilizing that top-down play. 2 minutes still left on the clock, and it looks like they're trying to get as much upstairs presence as possible, but making it a little bit, RMA is making it a little bit difficult for them to get into piano for that top-down play that they really do want at the end of the day to get the wall open. Even though it's only Habana, a lot easier to bandit trick. Not bringing the Maverick to the board this time, realizing the play isn't going to work the second time. Good way to swap it up and realize your mistakes, try again different way.
We are reaching the halfway point of the round right now, so that'll be a minute 30 left on the board. For Homeless now to try and get something going, they've established decent control of the eastern side of the map and some above as well, and it looks to me like they will be setting up for an A take. Well, I like to see that they're not wasting their resources on the main garage that we saw previously, but it looks like Strider late might be going for the wall, so that's going to throw off Sagion on that bandit. He might not be able to juggle it. And with that wall seemingly opened, I believe, it's going to be quite challenging now for RMA to try and hold this. They're being pinched from either side. Clash as well could find themselves exposed as Dino from the hatch gets some shots into CCTV. So that's Bundy really low now, and it looks like Homeless on the front foot. Early Stigs from above, also down Sagion to low health. So Homeless starting to get something going here. They just need to finish off these frags.
Yeah, not quite finding exactly what they need at the end of the day. This top-down play is working out for them, but they're unable to, like, just clean up exactly what they need. A lot of members of RMA are just barely hanging in there, and which is what they need. The Clash can really utilize that shield and maintain pressure on the enemy team. You can't just hard push in, but we do see Strider taking out Sagon. 28 seconds left on the clock. They're going to have a hard time pushing in the last couple seconds. Kata taking out Mop.
Dino there with a great double, and Strider goes for the plant. Bundy manages to get one back and secure his double, but is quickly frayed out there by Stigs, who's still popping off. And Homeless, they'll take round number 4. A strong attack from them. And RMA, I think, were thrown off a little bit there from that split push. That, though, will be 4 rounds down, and Homeless with quite an early advantage and quite a strong advantage. If we look once again at the stats for this map, it's heavily defender-sided, almost upwards of 70%. It's in the high 60s at the moment. Probably will be a little bit lower now live-wise because of Homeless's performance here, but still it's a strong performance from them so far as we head back to console. And if they're able to get this round here, I'd say it's probably all but over, statistically speaking.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it pays off for them in this round. As you do say, they haven't been having a good time top floor here. And at the end of the day, pulling out the exact same strats, I don't think it's the way to go. Having multiple strats on the same objective is a safe way to be playing this, especially when you... I'm not saying they're getting run over, but at the same time, that first push was really good by Homeless. Second push, the round was really saved by that C4. That clutch C4 really pulled RMA back into the round. Even though they didn't win the round, they played it really well.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting reflecting on that round that they did lose. It was, of course, a 4-on-1 clutch. So, of course, props to Stigs and well played by him. But, yeah, they played so well for the majority of that round. Unfortunately, just threw it away late. So, I'm sure if they can replicate that early to mid-round stage that they did previously, there'll be a decent chance here, and hopefully they can hold on to the win. As Homeless now will try and approach the site. Stiggs, though, gets dropped, so that's a great start from Mop, and that's the danger man off the board. They have the man advantage now, and they should be able to convert this to a round win.
Yeah, depending on if they can also get, as I said, the C4 pick. It looks like Dino's having a little bit of trouble, though. He's playing Nomad, so the runouts aren't a big deal for him. Lucifer's putting a bit of pressure on him. But yeah, if they can also get that C4 pick on top of that, it's pretty much guaranteed in the bag for him. That really brought him back last time. The push this time is a lot harder. Frank is off the board. You know, no Zofia this time. Gonna be a bit of a yikes game for Homeless if they aren't able to pick up a couple frags here and there. Sagon roguing down in the basement. I think Dino's just kind of chilling out, waiting to see if he's gonna try to pull out that same C4 strat a second time.
Fortunately for Homeless, losing a sledge probably isn't the biggest loss in the world. They still have flank watch, they still have EMPs with Thatcher, and they still have hard breach. And on top of that, they still have the intel gathering, of course, of the Jackal. So it's going to be up to them to try and utilize what they have and try and at least even out the main count here for the execute. These positions being held from RMA super strong at the moment, and it doesn't look like Homeless have the greatest intel so far and know exactly where these players are. They need to try and at least flush one or two out before they go for this planer. It's going to be really tricky, as we can see Malta, of course, Mop rather, in such a strong, powerful position inside of Con. He can get an angle into the entire A bomb site and try and deny that plan as Homeless continue to set up here. Bundy gets hit by an air jab and Dino will take him out. So there we go. That's the entry they needed, and it's now a 4-on-4.
Yeah, very key position, taking him out. Got about 47 seconds left on the clock, and they still need to make a little bit of ground, but taking out that first pick, Sagon taking down Dino, trading it backwards, 3-4. As I was about to say, they were in a good position to get that push in and potentially get the plant down, but now they've just been pushed back yet again by RMA.
Sojourn, though, he'll find himself off the board, so it is essentially a 3-3 scenario now with 15 seconds left on the board. Kata gets lit up as he tries to make his way towards Con. Arlo will get him off as he downs him. Lucifer gets Kata, though, and finishes him off, so it's a 2-on-3. Homeless need to try and go for frags, but Lucifer will get one, punted with the other, and it's all up to Arlo now to try and get the diffuser or 3 kills. He'll do neither, and RMA will take round number 5.
And that was a good hold towards the end, as we were talking about. Their Homeless had a really good push, but they just got refragged too much, and it just wasn't paying off for them. That sledge going down at the start, not a good thing that you want. No soft breaches, no frags, can't clear it out. Took them a while to clear out Bundy, even though they were able to get him off that shield in the back area of meeting. It just didn't end up turning into anything.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Homeless, but look, the scoreline for them is quite favourable at the moment. 3-2, still potentially 4-2 heading into the half. They will be attacking Garage once again, which has gone 1-1 either way. So we saw RMA defend it successfully in round number 1, and then in round number 4, Homeless took the attack. So this one really could go either way and could determine who's looking on top heading into the second half. But I think either way, it's probably going to be Homeless. Even if it is a 3-all scoreline, it's hard to think that RMA will bring this one back. Of course, it's not impossible. It's not that wild, but purely going off the statistics that we have so far for this season, it's looking pretty unlikely. And I think traditionally, I would probably favour Homeless on the defense of this map regardless.
Attackers are moving out to
Yeah,
locate
if
a
they
bomb.
can, well, at the end of the day, their holding of the basement has been pretty decent, to say the least. Is their best site at the end of the day. But it does look like Homeless is trying to swap it up a little bit. Each time that they have played, they've swapped up their operators every single time, brought somebody else to the table. Well, this is the strat that they're going to be potentially playing yet again, as we are seeing RMA just playing the same strat over and over again. You can come up with counters on the fly, and it's good to see that Homeless is trying to utilize that, realizing, hey, they were like this, for example, right here. They were playing a guy in Archives. Open up the hatches, potentially flush him out really early, so we don't have to worry about it as much this time, and then to go from there. We do see Mop down here doing exactly what I just said, where he's very worried about being taken around the corner. He's now getting jack-a-track, and not in a good way.
Yeah, Homeless taking their time here to clear out any roamers. They haven't got a pick yet, and all 10 members will be at 100 HP, so it's probably going to come down to who's more proficient in the executors. It sounds like some ex-Kairos are going off. A player is inside of bathroom, and that breach could make things potentially quite difficult. Stiggs will go in for the push as he enters in towards bathroom. He hits the barbed wire that's there, but I think the player's already dropped the hatch, so Homeless won't get the frag, but they will gain control. So not the worst play. Would have been nice to get the frag there to hit the halfway point of the round. I'm liking this angle that Homeless are producing once again from the hatch in towards CC, trying to stop any players from sort of holding in towards that area and protecting that A bomb site. Strider will get the wall open, and it looks like Homeless now trying to converge on towards the site. Arlo just missing a shot there onto yellow stairs. That's Sagijon who gets away with his life, and no one there to hit the refrag on that hole above, so he'll be able to scathe away and just hold these yellow stairs for now as we hit the 1 minute point of the round.
Yeah, if they can just get in, as we're seeing in this round, they didn't actually bring a clash. Probably decided that, hey, we've played this cheese enough. We are seeing Sagon taking out Arlo. It's going to put him in a bit of a deficit, sorry. But the kills are flying back and forth. 2 members of RMA are taken out of the board. And we're just going to be trying to see if they can get a cheeky pick onto the kitchenette. But nothing is quite found. Kata is trying to make his way through there. And Bundy's holding his hard angle, and he gets the pick that he needs. And it's just not going the way that, you know, Homeless are really wanting.
Yeah, Bundy there gets Strider as he tries to enter with the diffuser. So Stiggs or Dino now need to recollect that and reattempt the plant. Stiggs gets Bundy, so they might go for a frag out. He gets the second, and now it's up to Lucifer on that motion to clutch out. He has the evil eye, but it's not quite enough. Dino reattempting the plant now. His position seemingly revealed. I believe Stiggs is holding this angle, but no, he's prone. Lucifer doesn't see his feet though, and he can't get the kill. So it's now a 1-on-2 post-plant scenario. Both members of Homeless on decent HP. Lucifer on 100. He has the altar in his hand. Such a strong, powerful weapon. But Stiggs says no. Lucifer dropped off the board, and Homeless will take round number 6. That's going to be a 4-2 lead heading into the half, and it's really hard to see RMA come back from this one.
Yeah, at the swap over, that's definitely not the score that, you know, you want to be going into. At the end of the day, we've been talking about it. It's defender-sided map. And really, like, 4-2. That's a hard, like, mountain to climb. From there, though, you know, we've seen miracles happen. Underdog story. I would like to see it happen. More rounds means more excitement at the end of the day, and it could happen. We are going to be seeing the console, office, and meeting room first. So a bit of a difference, taking top floor first instead of basement to their counterpart. But we'll wait it out, see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how this switch of halves could play with momentum. I guess there are 2 questions that need to be answered. Will Homeless be able to carry across the momentum that they gather in such a strong attacking half, or will RMA be able to sort of produce the goods and come up with something new to try and throw Homeless off? Because initially I thought RMA were sort of taking that approach of being a little bit unorthodox and trying to throw off a team that's already playing with a sub. But they seem to sort of just go back to pretty default strats in the end and playing pretty similar throughout. And it appeared as if Homeless had that adaptability and the communication to sort of counter that on the fly, as we mentioned. So hopefully RMA can mix it up here a little bit in the second half, and maybe they can crawl back. But it's, yeah, looking like it will be a Homeless map at this stage. But if they lose, don't accuse me of cast a curse.
Oh, alright. You've already set it in. No backsies now, man. No backsies. We are seeing a very standard, exact same push coming out from RMA as they try to take control of the office area on the east side of the map. Whether or not they can get the same push going down, you know, it's a very standard strategy that we see from most teams coming from the east side of the map. But, you know, I think their downside was, as we were talking about before, they played so many people on yellow expecting it to be a yellow push, and they were on defense, and rather than the opposite end round and pick up anything from it. Just wait and see whether or not Homeless have kind of taken away from that and gone, hey, you know, we pushed from this way. Maybe we should be prepared for it. It does look like they've got a shotgun player playing on vending machines and just holding out and waiting for something to come in.
Strider holding a really key position here at that printed door. If Lucifer tries to push that, he could find himself with shotgun pallets imprinted in his face, but it looks like he's going to play it passive for now. He has the diffuser in hand. That's quite interesting, I think, to have Lucifer, the 3-speed Ash, with the diffuser. It's definitely an interesting decision. Often we'll see teams give the diffuser to more of a support player, a support role. For example, maybe the Nomad in this scenario, maybe even the Buck, but instead going on the Ash, as it looks like they're now beginning to push in through admin. A strong hold, though, from Homeless on this side. We didn't see this strong of a hold from RMA on this occasion, particularly in towards Printer and that long desk. Malta tries to push up, can't connect the shots, though, and they only have a minute now, Red. It's not looking great. Dino gets one, and Sajian off the board, and now they've got the man disadvantage. It's the hard breach off the board. Mop, a little bit messy with his shots there, but he gets Dino. Doesn't get refragged. He will eventually, though. Good work by Strider, but no, Pun denies it, so it's a 3-on-4. They should be able to pick up Mop here, and wow, this round could actually go RMA's way.
Yeah, maintaining the it's surprising that the Lucifer's still playing on the roof with Ash. Like, as you said, a bit of a risky play giving Ash the diffuser, but he's been playing outside for most of the round. I think they're trying to just go for that quick run in and potentially get the diffuser down, try and get a frag off. But we do see Arlo taking out Bundy. Is now a 2 versus 3 scenario. Nomad traps going down. 20 seconds left on the clock, and it's not looking very promising for Homeless right now. If they're not too careful, diffuser is going down.
5 seconds to go. Attackers are activating the bomb diffuser.
And unfortunately, Catter is going to be taken out by Mob. The diffuser is beginning to be on the floor. It's now 3 versus 1, and it is going to be going towards RMA. That was a really good push, surprisingly, at the end. Brought it back around, even though it went back and forth. Made it come through well.
Yeah, a little bit of a dodgy plant scenario there with RMA. They had Lucifer just run in there and break the table to try and get deep into that corner. Fortunately, the coverage was there at the long desk as the rotates were coming out. So unfortunately, it was left in that 1 versus 3 and wasn't quite enough in the end. So Homeless will be heading to basement now. I'm quite surprised that they didn't go back above again because, again, it was a real 50-50 round. I feel like if they go there again, they could probably play even a little bit more passive, particularly towards admin, and take the round. We saw them go for aggressive refrags, and that probably was the play at the time, but fortunately for RMA, they had those covered, and that put Homeless at that massive deficit on the post iron. So they will mix up and head to garage, and I'm interested to see if they do any sort of upstairs hold. We saw, of course, that aggression in towards admin, which was a little bit off meta and unorthodox previously, and we could well see the resurgence of the bathroom hold. We haven't seen it at all really in Challenger League so far, so maybe Homeless will bring it out.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised that the Ash play from that last round ended up paying off. As you said, rushing into the room.
5 seconds
That's
left
probably.
before insertion.
I don't want to say that was their ideology behind it. Like when they
Attackers are heading out
set
to
it up,
defuse a
was
bomb.
hey, you know, at somewhere near the end, we're gonna get the Ash to just go through, get a pick, and then get the diffuser down. Like that's really risky at the end of the day. They made it work. Don't get me wrong, but risky plays all round. If they can make it work this time, maybe they can make it work again. But you know, I don't think it's a statistically good play the game. They do have Ash with the diffuser yet again, and playing a bit more presence around that front lobby area spiral. So we do see RMA pushing upstairs.
Yeah, RMA looking to take full map control here from top down. I need to be mindful of the roamers though. Stig's actually on the bandit will be roaming, so instead of using those batteries to help juggle Garage Wall, instead he's going to utilize that MP7 on the roam. He's a really strong weapon, and these RMA members need to be very mindful. As Dino as well on the roam. Stig's with the C4 at the top of Spiral, gets one onto Bundy, so that's Buck off the board, and Soft Breach so critical on this site. Almost gets taken out from Mop on the hatch, but he gets away safely, and he can team up now with Dino for the refrag, and this is looking pretty dangerous. He hits the air jab though, he will get refragged, so there we go. That double team working quite well in favour of Homeless, and that leaves it now in a 4-3 scenario, just like the scores, so a little bit of a it's deja vu there, but nonetheless.
Getting analogies off.
Yeah, RMA not in a position to completely forfeit this round. Still a lot to play with here. They have Ash on the board for Soft Breach and that 3-speed, as well as the Hard Breach as well as Sagion. He's now going to try to open the wall open, and without any Hard Breach left, that will be successful, and they could well get the plant. So I'm expecting Homeless now. They'll rotate over towards White Van here and try and cover that entry, because if they don't and they manage to get in towards Garage, they could well take this round.
Well, just having the bandit down at the end of the day and that top down finally outwards, it looks like Zerfield just getting that angle onto pipes, or nearly finding the legs of Pato. They're still holding a lot of these long angles. Lucifer not quite able to clear out the Maestro cam, but they are getting a lot of pressure onto the white band. Diffuser is going down onto the floor, and Homeless just not in a position to really come back around in a really quick possession. Oh, smoke grenade, Smoke Babes taking out Lucifer and Sagon. Down to a 1 versus 3 out of nowhere. That was very clutch.
Yeah, very clean there from Arlo. I think he was helped a little bit by the Evil as well from Kato, who I could hear it hitting up the opponent, potentially going for that plant. So great cleanup from Arlo, and unfortunately our Mop is now left in a 1-on-3. All three members of Homeless with full HP, can't even get the first. And Homeless will continue their streak, taking round number 8.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bit of a turnaround. Was not expecting that to go that way at all. Definitely expected the Evil Eye to get, you know, a lot of shots off, only because the Lucian, sorry, I'm playing too much League of Legends. Lucifer couldn't quite get the Ash charge onto it because of the Jaeger trap in the corner, but outside of that, didn't see anything really coming out. The cheeky Smoke Babe coming over the top, cleaning them up. You know, not maintaining that 5-meter distance on the players really didn't help out for RMA, and that's going to put them at 5-3. Not looking in a strong scenario for them.
Yeah, that last round, the plants are almost non-existent really for Homeless. Fortunately, Arlo came in clutch with that smoke. I don't think the Evil Eye would have been quite enough to deny the plants. So that was really, really well played in the end. And unfortunately for RMA, they were sort of stacked behind White. Didn't really have anywhere to go, because if they tried to run out, they would have been shot most likely anyway. So with that round said and done, we're going to head back to the second floor once again. And this has been the only 2 sites we've seen so far. We've only seen second floor console and basement garage so far, so that's quite surprising. We're yet to see lobby. No one's dared go to the split bomb site yet, so quite interesting in that regard. And I don't know if Homeless will, after this round, go to split potentially and try and throw RMA off. We'll have to wait and see. And who knows, Homeless might not be able to take this round once again.
Well, pretty much the only reason we haven't been seeing those extra bomb sites is just because it has literally just been going back and forth. It's been like, you know, win the first bomb site, this was the second one, win the next one, go back to the original bomb site. So, you know, if it's anything to go by these back and forths, more than likely I'm going to say lose this and then win the next one. That's my prediction.
Well, we will have to wait and see, as it looks like Homeless once again utilizing a strong roam. Stigs and Dino pairing up once again, and they could get a frag here onto Sagion, who's playing quite aggressively in Visa if he isn't careful. Arlo on the cams could give some potential intel away, as Sagion will now make his way through Visa in towards that main lobby potentially. There is a player on the bottom of Spiral Stairs. That'll be Stigs on the Mozzie. Mozzie's such a strong fragger, and could easily take our Sejuani if he isn't careful. It looks like both teams quite tentative in pushing in any real direction. And that suggests to me that there's a real lack of information going around.
Yeah, a bit of a slow push. We've still got about 1:38 on the clock. They really need to start making their push onto the objective, as they are going to be running out of time. They're not doing the same standard push off office that they did last time. Good thing that they are mixing it up. Bad thing that they're not making anything happen out of it. They're really trying to clear out these roamers, but it's just not happening quick enough.
Bomb located by attackers.
Lucifer with the diffuser again, we do see Conji taking out Dino. That is going to put the defense at a deficit. Double down on the deficit as Bundy is taking out Strider. All of a sudden, they're bringing it back around with, 57 seconds left on the clock. Finally, might be able to make something happen of it. Third goes down. Only 2 members of Homeless left. And Arlo's doing his best with those smoke grenades to get it down yet again. But Lucifer's trying to get into the objective to get that diffuser onto the floor.
Wow, what a shot there from Mob. Takes out Kata, the sub, and now it's a 1 on 4 scenarios. It looks like Bundy is down, so potentially winnable here for Arlo, but looking unlikely so far. His position has been revealed. The flashbangs go out as the plant goes down. Lucifer in that sneaky corner. Arlo trying to smoke him through the wall potentially there. It won't be successful. He gets a really nice pick onto Mob holding that long hallway, but look at the members holding the diffuser. That's basically an impossible retake in RMA. You're going to take that round, and wow, if there's one thing they can take away from this, it's their upstairs attack. It's actually looked really, really strong.
Yeah, somehow that the diffuser on Ash pick is just paying off for them back to back. Really wasn't expecting it to happen. I know I did say that, they'll probably lose it and then play it again, and then we're going to see basement again. But yeah, it's just surprising how much it's paying off for them. They did get a good couple picks downstairs as they were able to pick off the roamers. Not super early into the round, but just consecutively. Once the ball started rolling, once they started getting those kills and the picks, pretty much, it was one after the other after the other. It was like 15 seconds or less in between each kill until the end of the round. So
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
I can't help but feel that this substitute here of Kata, who's on screen there, so thanks Monkey Fist for preempting I was going to say that. I can't help but feel that's having some sort of impact on how Homeless are playing at the moment. It appears as if Homeless are quite content in sticking him on relatively basic support players to play. He was playing Jackal on attack for the most part. Now he's sticking on the Mute. So Mute, not a particularly difficult operator to play with, but in terms of a high competitive level such as Challenger League, having even one player that is a little bit unfamiliar with the synergy of the team and the work and the playstyle of the team, that can definitely throw a spanner in the works and can potentially throw off the team and how they approach sites, how they defend sites. And whilst Homeless don't look completely thrown off at the moment, I feel like this scoreline probably isn't as reflective as it would be with full strength. I feel like they'd probably be a little bit further ahead at this stage, and I guess it's up to them to adapt, particularly if Hayward can't make it into map 2. That could make things really interesting.
yeah, the having Dino back off the office area there, a bit of an interesting pick as they threw somebody in there, even though in the previous round we didn't actually see really any sort of presence coming out of RMA onto like that area. They were just more focused on clearing out those downstairs roamers, making sure the same thing wasn't going to happen to them at the end of the day. They didn't get those C4s up through the floor and, get a couple cheeky picks. But it looks like they're going back to the standard, pushing straight through the office, and potentially this might be a good mix-up, realizing that, always we do see it. Pick go down as Arlo takes out Bundy. Nearly not escaping with his own life, getting dropped down to 25. Not a very solid situation, but he did win the train at the end of the day. The Buck being down off the board is very good. Stops that verticality sort of play style. You can keep your players in meetings a lot safer that way. They're not playing anybody over by the vending machine's photocopy area, meaning it is a free hallway take potentially.
Stiggs with some really nice intel on the default camera, nonetheless. So we did see Valkyrie banned on this occasion, but it appears as if Homeless, they don't need that. They could just use the default cameras because RMA have actually forgotten to take one out. Hopefully they have realized that they've made that mistake and will take it out eventually, because that gathers some really nice intel as to who's rappelling there onto the balcony, as well as any players down towards the front door. Meanwhile, Sajion getting really aggressive here on Spiral Stairs, thinks better of it as Armour's probably set up for that refrag on the long desk, and I don't think it's going to be too long until we see an execute here, Red, and look, it looks like RMA might not be in the best position at the moment.
Yeah, everybody's trying to come together. We do see Sagon taking out Dino. That's going to be the egger off the board. That extra gun is going to be useful. But Sagon taking out Arlo, doubling down on his kill potentials. Roma's down on the map. It's all up to the, the anchors of the objective, and they're in very safe positions. The Evil Eye is trying to take out the diffuser. We do see a quicker trade going down. The diffuser is still potentially going down onto the floor as Kata takes it out. Pun. And it just makes it. The Evil are not cutting it, but Kata doesn't care. He's going for those picks, coming around the corner, taking out Lucifer. Doesn't quite find the other members of the team, though, and it's all up to Strider in a bit of a pinch. He needs to contest vending machines, but at the same time needs to find out where Sergio is over on Spiral.
Not much time left already as that diffuser's ticked past the halfway point of the fuse, and RMA, they're just going to sit back. They know it's a 7-second counter defuse time, and they know they'll be able to deny if Strider goes for it. So here we can see Mob, he knows he's going to be able to hit this shot, and there we go. Easy headshot for him, and RMA, they even out the scoreline, and wow, this is not only one going against the statistical history of this site, but two, it's going against the standings. RMA, of course, last heading into this, Homeless third, and you wouldn't know that looking at the scorecard.
Yeah, I know that I said they probably wouldn't win the first defense, but I wasn't expecting them at all to lose the second defense on the top floor again. It looks like they are going down into the garage, which, it's an obvious play. But yeah, that was a very K-Crikey sort of moment where they just lost control of meeting there just towards the end. And Seigo coming around, really taking out those roamers. Even though he was playing Habana, he really came around and brought it out for his team.
It's going to be up now to Homeless to try and bring this one back. We have seen them be successful in one defense here on basement for the last two rounds, which were both unsuccessful attacks above. So look, they have some decent form heading into this. They need to try and correct this, and it's really coming down to crunch time. If Homeless don't take full points here on both maps, that really could compromise them heading into the back end of the season. If other teams like Rhythm and Team Cryptic are able to get full points against RMA, which looking at the standings you would expect them to, that could definitely come back to bite Homeless, and we know that they're here for redemption. They only missed out on Pro League Season 10 by a head-to-head result in the standings, so it was super tight for them, and they're here to try and make a point. And if they lose to a team like RMA and miss out on points that they've already missed out on top of what they missed out on in the first play day, things are not going to look good for them.
They got a lot on the line here, whether or not they could take it home. They did have a pretty decent hold on the garage last time. Outside, ooh, Dino getting thrown across the field from that same Nomad trap that cleaned him up last time. But outside of that, yeah, the clutch plays from is it Argyle on Smoke on the last time really held them together at that ending. So I'm not saying I'm not leaning towards them as much anymore, but we do see Bundy nearly taking out the head of the Bandit as he comes around the corner, trying to get away.
This is an interesting angle from Sigs. He's still inside Piano trying to get a pick from Spawn, and looks like Dino's there as well to assist. They are aware of that position. Sergion not running the ACOG, so it will be a hollow on a hollow, or at least a hollow on a reflex battle here. There we go. He gets one onto Dino. Stiggs doesn't have the confidence to re-peek it as he gets thrown out. He needs to try and reposition here. And once again, this double roam from Homeless not quite paying dividends. He almost gets lit up from front door. He manages to get the frag though, so that's Lucifer off the board.
Attackers
Ash with the
recovered the bomb
diffuser
diffuser.
dropped. It will be recollected though by Sadio on the Habana. And look, not the most unfavourable position for Homeless. They still have two really strong plant deniers on the board, as well as the ACOG on Strider. And definitely not out of this one, particularly considering that wall isn't open yet with only a minute to go.
Yeah, the Buck taking out those bandit batteries now. Smoke grenades potentially coming up the floor. He's trying to peek it. Oh, gets a little bit of damage onto Bundy as he rotates around there, trying to clear out those bandit batteries as best as he can. Smoke Babes flying out, but Arlo still trying to contest these vertical plays. And again, a bit of deja vu from the last time we saw this, though the hatches are still closed, which, you know, is in Homeless's favor. They potentially could come around with this again. Diffuser just outside the garage door, and they need to get down there. One Smoke Babe remaining, I'm fairly confident. And hopefully this time they got rid of the evil eye. Oh, it looks like potentially they didn't. Diffuser is going down onto the floor.
10 seconds to go.
Is all
Attackers
up
recovered
to
the
Kata
diffuser.
to bring it back around.
5 seconds left.
Kata, the substitute for the team, as Pun goes for a second plant attempt. He won't get it down in time, but it doesn't matter. Mob pushes down Yellow and takes him out. And wow, that is not the result that I don't think either of us really expected here. Heading into round number 12, the scoreline will, of course, be in favour of RMA 6-5. And unfortunately for Homeless, that means that they can't actually take full points tonight. If Homeless win the next round, they're only going to go home with 1 compared to 3 for the win. And this really could have a big impact on how the rest of the league plays out.
Yeah, absolutely not the direction I was seeing this going originally. My prediction being obviously that Homeless was going to take this by storm, but obviously this underdog story is really paying off, as we are seeing that RMA have done significantly better on their attack than their
Attackers
defense,
need to locate
and it could
and
literally
defuse
just be
bombs
that
if they can.
they are more confident in their attacks than they are on defenses, even though that, you know, obviously this is the map that they're playing.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Yeah, we will be heading now back to Garage for a second attempt. It has been Homeless's most successful defense, albeit they've only defended it successfully once. But look, if there's one site you want to be going to, it'll be one that you've at least gotten around on. And I think it's really up to Homeless to try and counter what RMA are doing. Both times they've won this site, they've just gone for a default plant behind White, and there's been very little in the way of
5 seconds left.
consecutive plant denial to try and stop it. I mean, we did see the Evil Eye stop it once there, but unfortunately that aggressive roam had them at that man disadvantage, and by that stage the round was basically over. So look, I think Homeless need to probably curb the aggression just a little bit here, as it seems like they're playing into the hands of RMA, and maybe just rely a little bit more on that plant denial and have that man advantage on site to try and back that up.
Are you trying to say you're rating their aggression with that one?
Oh, I mean, it's not like yeah. I mean, I don't know. Homeless, of course, are traditionally quite an aggressive team, but with a substitute on your squad, you could arguably say that every round to some extent is already a 4-on-5. So that aggression may be unneeded, and it could then potentially put you at a 3-5 or a 2-5 really early in the round, which we've seen on multiple occasions, and we've seen RMA just completely capitalize on that.
Yeah, and on top of that, losing both your roamers, it's nearly been every single round now that they get to about the halfway point and both roamers die within 10-15 seconds of each other. They just both get picked off at the same time, usually by the same person. I think it's been nearly every round Sagon's found them, or they've rotated to try and contest him. And at the end of the day, he's just cleaned off their heads. And that's definitely not what you want. If they can stall it out just that smidgen longer, just a little bit, just hold on and, you know, play time. Potentially, when they go for this default plant that they've been doing every single time, you know, they might be able to bring somebody else around, potentially get the flank on the piano and take him out. But we do say Stiggs taking out Bundy with the counterplay straight up on that verticality. Stiggs playing on the objective this time. This is way safer play. exactly what we're trying to just talk about at the end of the day. He did try to utilize the, you know, you can throw like a frag and then shoot the wall. I don't think it paid off exactly how he wanted to. Mop getting damaged a little bit as he tries to find out where the doc is hiding. But this is looking a bit better in Homeless's favor now.
Homeless now, such a critical round for them. If they go down here, could well compromise the rest of their Challenge League efforts and could force them to rely on other teams' results. So it's imperative that they get full points here. Arlo inside of Garage's aggressive face. He's back to the breach there for just a moment. Fortunately, he will stay alive. And it looks like Homeless on this occasion have better prepped for that yellow van plan. And it could well be to the demise of RMA if they go for it once again. Sajion does have the diffuser in hand and is setting up to go for it. Hopefully, Homeless have that intel. Lucifer goes for the entry. He gets quite aggressive watching that rotate. And there we go. He gets one into Dino as the plant starts to go down. It's a 4-on-4 scenario now. Homeless once again struggling to deny the plan, and it will not go down though. Arlo comes in late and the diffuser is dropped. Lucifer needs to try and recollect. He'll go for it once again as the gas is lighting him up. It will be denied by Stiggs, and there we go. Arlo once again coming in clutch for the boys. And look, Homeless get away with 1 point. Might not be what they wanted, but at least it was something.
Yeah, Stiggs actually popped off really hard that round, which is in comparison to how he was doing in previous, like, I'm not saying he didn't do well as a roamer, but the amount of pressure that he added just by sitting on the objective was significantly more, and I think that really brought them back on that round.
As we have a quick look at the replays for this match, nothing too crazy coming out from either team, and really a tussle by both sides. Unfortunately for Homeless, of course, 1 point in the end, not the greatest result, but for RMA, you know, it's something healthy to try and establish their name on the board going into this. They're the last, so any points for them is good. I think they went in with 2 this evening, so they should be on 3 now. Good on them, as that Stiggs clutch was pretty pog, wasn't it?
Yeah, just take him out at the end there. You got like 3 on top of the buck kill. So very nice play. A couple nice C4s we saw in this game, plus some really good sneaky flanks, especially I think it was Pog in the in Archives getting the triple in one of the first rounds. Was really well played. But yeah, really well played overall. Really nicely well done. Went draw 6-6. Didn't see that one coming at all. But you know, is what it is.
Yeah, definitely an unexpected result. I don't think either of us, and probably the majority of viewers, didn't really expect that to be close at all. And I feel like the big denominator, or the big factor that contributed to that would have to be the fact that Hayward had tech issues, which then forced Kada, their team manager, to come in. And, you know, Kada was not playing bad by any means, but I just feel as if that had quite a detrimental impact to their overall synergy, how they sort of played as a unit. And it sort of came back to bite them. So hopefully he can make it into map number 2 and we will see a stronger Homeless. And for their sake, they're going to need that because they need maximum points from here on out.
Yeah, just coming back around, as you said, the extra trade outs obviously were saying RMA went back to the original lineup, which might have bolstered their playstyle a little bit in their aggression. I don't want to say the obvious pun again, but at the end of the day, their pushes on attack were significantly better, and having that sub obviously on Homeless didn't pay off for them in the long run. Even though they were able to get into the game, it just didn't pay off. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get the picks that he quite needed, and so it just, yeah, in comparison to like the regular play, I think they definitely could have done a lot.
Well, that just about does it here for map number 1. We'll head to a quick break to let you all divulge exactly what just happened there. A 6-6 draw in the end on Consulate. We will be back shortly for the map videos for the second best of 1. We'll see you then. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to ANZ Challenger League. We're here for Playdate number 6. I'm Guz. Next to me, I'm not sure which way he is Red. We saw a pretty interesting map number 1 on Consulate. Do you want to give us a quick rundown before we head into map number 2?
Yeah, I'm probably thinking bands wise. I mean, probably going to be the same bands coming out yet again, usual. I kind of want to see a bank game, to be honest. Maybe I don't know, let's go season 1 map again. That's what I'm leaning towards. What are you leaning for, man? What do you want to see?
Look, statistically speaking, what these teams have played, Consulate, Bank, Club, Cafe, I'm anticipating probably going to be one of those as we hopefully get the map videos up on screen in just a second so we can see which team has banned out. Of course, it goes sort of 1-1, 1-1 in a fashion that leads it down to just 1. That, of course, is the best of 1 map veto format, as we should be getting it up in just a second. We will be heading to, drum roll please, it will be Clubhouse. So, yeah, a map that I think will bode well for both teams as they both have played it. Not too much unknown, and if either team has done a little bit of research, they should probably know how the other will approach it.
Yeah, it's outside of obviously the rework. Clubhouse is a very standard sort of map. Everyone's been playing it exactly the same way since season 1. As outside, obviously, the reworked rooms, cash now being more the main objective outside of just playing down in Arsenal. But it might come down to just who gets the better picks onto Master Bedroom, or whether or not one of the teams has a strat to play bar.
Yeah, I don't think bar's probably going to be in the pool here.
Come on, man, I can dream.
Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet. I think it's interesting that you note CCTV being the strongest site. I think in the Japan Pro League finals, CCTV actually sort of fell out of the meta quite a bit there. It appears as if teams have worked out how to attack that quite well. But we will now be jumping into Clubhouse for the second best of 1 for tonight. Of course, the first one on Consulate ended up being a 6-all draw. And if Homeless don't take full points from this map, they could be in a lot of danger heading into the back end of the season.
Yeah, they really need to clutch this one around and take control of this as early as they can. We are going to be seeing Capitao taken off the board really early. This is a bit of leaning towards that cash objective hold. You can get the bandit off the wall, down by the garage, going through the wall, backing it up with the Maverick. These are a lot of picks that is going to stop you going through that main wall. Same thing back onto bedroom, main wall there, and then hatches obviously in the base. We see these all the time. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary. Being a bit of a trend with the bans so far. As there we go, Echo will be the 3rd ban as previously. Now, we did see Valkyrie banned out on the first map, and I feel like part of that was maybe a target ban against Stiggs, who does quite like Valkyrie, as well as Consulate having a lot of areas outside where you can throw them. But RMA, they're going to elect to go to the mirror. So basically, 4 of the most popular bans so far in the Challenger League season are being brought out here, and don't think that'll necessarily favour either team, because both teams probably have scrimmed with these bans a lot. So there's been a lot of practice that's gone in there, and be up to either one to try and adapt around that. I think it's going to be interesting as well with Homeless being on the attack starting off. Hopefully they can gain some early momentum here and try and carry that towards that round win. Finally, it is interesting to note that Hayward has found his way back into the lobby. So we saw in the last map, unfortunately for Homeless, they were a man down. Tech Issues had played Hayward, so they brought in Kata, who subbed in. He did a really, really good job, considering, from the best of my knowledge, he doesn't necessarily scrim with the team. He's more so their team manager. And definitely a tall order coming in and subbing in for Challenger League. So well done to him. Did appear to throw the team off just a little bit. They didn't quite look at their best, but hopefully with that all said and done, they'll recover here and look quite strong.
Yeah, getting the your standard sort of play style coming out, having your 5-man together. At the end of the day, when you play with same people over and over again, you kind of get a feel for what they're doing, and that individual sub, as you're saying, might have thrown them off just a
10
little
seconds to
smidgen.
insertion.
He wasn't playing poorly, but it's just thrown out the complete
5
rhythm of
seconds left.
like their play style, as it appears. Hopefully we'll
Attackers are
see
moving out to
them
locate a
picking
bomb and
it up
defuse it.
on this one and getting a decent attack or decent couple attacks off the, which, as you said, pushes their momentum and bring it around to defense if they want to get those points for Challenger League.
Looks like Homeless have brought the 2 hard breaches on the board, so the only 2 left remaining is Maverick was banned. Thermite will be on Strider, and Dino will be playing the Habana. I'm liking this castle strat that they've brought out here in Bar. I've seen a couple of teams trying to adapt that, try and hold above a little bit longer, try and waste the time of the attackers. Sejuon as well above. This is a very high risk, high reward strategy. Talk about high risk. That peek from the stairs, incredibly dangerous there from the ally. Lucky to get away with their life, but looks like this pressure on Homeless is starting to form a little bit as they seem to be a little bit tentative to try and push in here. A lot of roamers above. This is heavy hold above. If Homeless gather the intel that there's no one on site, they should be able to adapt here. Dino with the entry frag as well. And this really should go the way of Homeless if they play it smart.
Yeah, it's interesting to see on top of that that Strider, even though they are rocking like double hard breacher, that he is contesting this angle extremely hard, no cover, just also wall on it. Potentially trying to get everybody out of that top floor as quick as possible, as we do see Mop rotating back downstairs. This is a safer option to be doing, but he is going to be taken out by Dino as he picks up the second kill of the game, and Lucifer is going to be rotating back. Everybody coming back into the objective. As you're saying, this is the safer way to play. You stall out that time, stall out as much as you can, rotate back. The downside of this, though, motor hatch is already open.
And Moto Hatch, a hatch that so often is tripped by the Cade. No hard breach to null on the side of RMA for this round. They could potentially impact Tree Broken C4 trick if they really needed the kitchen hatch, for example, but I think that stage is already done. Homeless in a perfect position now to try and get both hard and soft breach destruction off. And they have a man advantage, plenty of time to work with as well. Pun will get Dino though, so that will be Habana off the board. Fortunately for Homeless, Strider is still alive and should be able to get the bar wall open. Hayward gets the nade onto Lucifer. His position revealed. Bundy with a nice shot to refrag. That leaves it in a 3-on-2. Bundy and Pun now left to try and bring this one back. Bundy on quite low HP though, needs to be covered. He will be taken out though. No, that'll be Pun actually taken out. So Bundy now with the low HP. Left in a 1-on-3 scenario as the plant goes down. This is not looking favourable at all. That's a first time, seemingly giving away his position inside of Armory as well. As the plant is successful, Bundy now needs to try and execute the retake, but there we go. He's taken off the board, and the roam from RMA not quite working out in the end.
Yeah, it was a bit of an awkward situation. Outside of obviously giving up that motor hatch, not early into the round, but they still had about a minute and a half left on the clock when it pretty much everybody rotated back into the objective. They still had some thermite charges available, which obviously could be utilized to open up Church, even if they weren't going to push straight onto Moto. And having obviously Arsenal hatch open means, you know, it's a lot harder to play somebody on the top there to hold the hallway where the Church stairs are. And just, you give up a lot of that area. I'm not completely convinced on that strategy. I like the inner workings, but I think it needs a little bit more tweaking if they're going to play it again.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Yeah, it is a really interesting strategy. I've seen a couple of teams attempt it. I don't quite have the stats, of course, to sort of back up the success of it. I really don't know if a really proficient team can execute it, because it does appear to be quite complex and really relies a lot on the time management of both the defenders and the attackers. And for the most part, RMA actually played that quite well. Other than the early 2 picks, they wasted a lot of time. The defenders were actually successfully able to rotate downstairs, which was my main concern with that strategy, was Homeless cutting that rotate off. But they were able to get back down to site, and they wasted further time again, they're not playing bad. They're holding off these attacks for extended periods of time and utilizing their utility really well. It's unfortunate that Homeless are coming through with these clutch plays late in the round, and we saw on map number 1, Sigs hitting a 4K to win a round, and then again, Strider managing to push in and get a really nice 2K on two defenders that were in highly favourable positions, and unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough. So hopefully, for RMA's sake, they can hold on here and try and bring back the rounds.
Yeah, a bit more of a sneaky play coming out of Stiggs as he sneaks his way into the tunnel area, potentially making his way up the... or is he going to go for oil pit onto blue stairs, perhaps? It is interesting. Sometimes we see somebody come onto oil pit and to the ladder and lob a grenade onto the main area, or potentially even just get a headshot, but it doesn't look like they're going to be utilizing that strat this time. Just getting him up the blue stairs and potentially picking off. Oh, is that Mop? Daisy. Ooh, just misses. He's really trying to find him. I don't know if Mop knows that he's there or not, but he's disengaged out of that, and he does not want a bar of Sticks.
Yeah, Sticks playing the top of blue here. Needs to try and find that early entry pick. He is statistically really strong in his kills per round, having a lot of impacts across his matches. We're yet to quite see him pop off to how he did on map number 1 so far. But he's playing Zofia there. A lot of utility usage on the board, potentially to try and help open this main wall. We saw Homeless struggle opening it up previously. It looks like that will be the case. But Stiggs actually gets the frag there onto Lucifer, and he gets the second onto the stairs. He secures the double kill. Mop really should have cleaned up, or mopped up, that kill, that refrag, but he's unsuccessful, unfortunately. And really nice entry from Stiggs will put Homeless at a really nice advantage early on.
Yeah, and this is pretty much exactly what they need coming into this map, having this attacking sort of presence, as we're talking about. If they get this early lead and are able to really transition it into the defense round, even though that pun takes down Hayward, sorry. They are in a still very good position to get in. The smoke bags are coming out into the main wall. Strider is trying his absolute best to clean up any of the remaining stairs players, as we do see Dino taking out Pun there, just through that little construction hole wall. Sagon ready for this rush. This time he's not going to fall for it twice, but he isn't quite aware of that little hole. Nearly gets taken out, puts his back, gets pincered. Unfortunately, that was a round 3 going towards Homeless. And yeah, they kind of just got blitzed there at the end. It was a bit of the same thing that happened we saw last round, where Homeless really just bordered around in the end and clutched it out.
Yeah, Homeless looking very, very different to how they did on map number 1. Of course, they do have their full roster, and with that comes full confidence to go for some of the players that they are. Stiggs opening it up there with such a great use of utility, accidentally really getting the first kill, which helped quite a bit, onto the hard breach, and then following it up onto Mop, who unfortunately was stunned and couldn't collect the refrag. We will head to basement now though. RMA continuing to mix it up here, and look, they really need to start getting rounds now, or it's not going to look good for them heading into the second half.
Yeah, being a bit more defender-sided on this map, it's you know, not pretty when you get 3-0 in your defender series, but you know, maybe they'll turn around. We saw in the last map they were a more attacking presence, so potentially even if they do get, I'm not going to say they get 6-0, but let's say they don't win a lot more of their defenses, they could heavily bring it around on their attacks just simply from being an attacking centric team.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this
5
map
seconds
plays
left.
out. Talking about interesting things on this map, it appears as if RMA not electing to go for the upstairs hold that we saw previously. So in their very first defense on this site, they brought the castle and they had such a strong presence above, at least 3 or 4 roamers from what I could count. Trying to board off Homeless and waste their time. It was semi-successful. They wasted quite a bit of time, but they lost 2 members early. And I guess that they have thought about that and elected that they will now go for the more traditional downstairs, call it if you will, turtle strategy to try and hold the side. And it appears as if Homeless have full confidence in pushing above and are aware that they can do so. Dino waiting to see if the hatch will be blown, and it won't. So not quite enough pallets detonating there, and Dino needs to go for it once again. But it's going to be even harder now with 2 holes ready to impact trick that hatch, and that could play a big role in how this Armory side is attacked.
Yeah, utilizing this impact trick is a lot better strategy, in my opinion. It might not be better overall, but I just think it is. It is nice to see that, you know, Steelbox Simulator sometimes isn't a bad thing, especially when you're playing on a basement. There is no windows, there's only doorways and hatches. Introduction of Cade and obviously people utilizing impact tricking a lot more. It's going to make it a significant easier to pull, but we are seeing Dino taking out Bundy. That's going to be the Maestro down, even though they still get the, you know, information from those Evil Eyes. You know, they're just not going to be able to shoot anything at the end of the day. As we see Jaeger coming down, having a nice old smoke fest on the stairs, just chill banging as his corpse lands there.
Yeah, Homeless with that man advantage, taking their time to set up for the execute, and they have plenty of it. Still over a minute left to get the bar wall open if they so desire, and then try and get the plant down. They could even go for a blue push or even something straight into Armory. They have a lot of options available here. Some strong positions still being held by the defenders though, so they will need to try and flush them out and try not to throw away the strong advantage that they do have. Because if they will prep to go straight down these main stairs and potentially get that wall open. Mop being pressured heavily inside of Blue could be taken out if he isn't careful. He's being flushed out currently by Stigs on the Zofia, but he's not going to push down it just yet. This is probably the safe play. They don't need Stigs dying here. He's in a powerful position to take Blue later in the round. Mop just misses more shots onto him as they starting to progress towards the side. Strider gets Lucifer, and they're starting to collapse now inside of Armory. Mop left in a very precarious position. Pun as well inside Church is compromised. There we go, the refrag comes out, and Pun now needs the retake from main hallway. He gets one. That's the diffuser down. 15 seconds left to recollect and go for the plant. There's also a member down, so it's effectively a one-on-one here during this plant scenario. Pun, unaware of this player inside of Blue. Stigs does have the advantage on information here. He looks the wrong way. Stigs will take him out, and Homeless will continue the streak.
Yeah, it was a bit of an awkward situation with the push coming out. Just then, they had a lot of presence coming out of, obviously, Dirt Tunnel and the hatch. But not only that, we didn't see RMA having a lot of presence onto the main stairs or on Moto. I'm unsure whether the hatch was still solid or not. I assume it was. But, yeah, there was no information going off over there. They had no one playing over there. Whether or not it was drained or not, that could have been a free pick. But, yeah, Mop was in such a awkward situation where he pretty much had to watch both directions at the same time as he saw him flicking around, and then unfortunately the Cade going down due to Dirt Tunnel, meaning you know, now he's got to watch 3 angles. It's just not going to happen at the end of the day. Too many members going down early into the round made it a bit too difficult for poor RMA to clean that one up.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah. Starting to look a little bit dire now, unfortunately, for RMA. Not able to replicate that same level of confidence and proficiency that we saw on map number 1. This hasn't quite gone their way so far, and it looks like they are really going to go unorthodox here. A lot of reinforcements going above here, and they're going to reattempt that same sort of hold, hopefully to greater effect. And I feel like if they don't lose that early round advantage, that man advantage, it could well pay off. The 3-floor hold can be efficient, but they need to be really mindful in how they approach it. And it looks like Homers already have the intel that they're going for it, as Hayward pre-files inside a con. And I feel like if Homers have the intel as to how they've set up, they are in a really nice position to try and pick it apart.
Alrighty, as we do see, Thatcher is going to be cheekily running into the strip club, trying to get as much pressure as he can. But Sagon's really going to be holding off that bathroom angle and trying to maintain pressure onto the main areas, trying to slow down this push as much as possible. As we were talking about before, really nice use of these castle walls. It's going to definitely hold out significantly longer and maintain presence that they really want at the end of the day. whether or not they can do it or not is another thing. We're just going to have to wait and find out, as we do see Dino just holding and waiting to see if he's going to hold out again. I don't think it's going to be quite enough, though. As he's started to push down and he's ready for him. He takes out his head. Sagon going down. First pick of the round.
Yeah, Homeless once again able to get that early pick, sets them up really nicely for the remainder of this round, but it looks like they are holding quite strong. Lucifer sees one inside the bathroom, sees the tip of his gun, but he can't get the kill, unfortunately, and Arlo will drop. The refrag does come out from Mob, and Lucifer could get another here. He has that second opportunity, and he capitalizes. So that is now Dino off the board. It's a 3-3 scenario. One of the hard breaches lost to Homeless, as well as that Thatcher. Could make it really hard for the hard breach. Mop above getting absolutely destroyed here with utility by Stiggs. He does get the kill, though, onto Hayward as he pushes up and feel worse off. That shotgun taking him out with ease, and he's still holding inside of Jim. He's such an interesting and peculiar position to be holding, and instead of just letting him play here way offside and cut off the rotate, they're going to try and keep pushing him. Finally, he will be taken out, and it's a 2-on-2. Still winnable for Homeless, but RMA have definitely shaken them in the early stages of this round.
Yeah, they've still got a couple of impacts on the border as well, and followed by C4, so Homeless want to take out this back wall. They still have one thermite charge or exothermic charge on the board if they want to go for that strategy. It's probably the safer bet. They just left. The whole church wall is left open. I will bite my words. They don't even need it. As we do see Pun taking out Strider as he drops down to Modo. But taking a couple extra shots, Stiggs needs to find 2 remaining members. Is it going to be enough? He comes in, but it's not quite, as we do see Lucifer taking him out with those last couple of shots as he came around the corner onto Chuck. Finally, clawing back that round that they really did need.
Yeah, the aggressive upstairs holder from RMA finally paying dividends, and unfortunately, in the end there, Stiggs unable to replicate what we saw in map number 1, where he hit that 1v4 clutch. There's 1 versus 2 in this scenario, but unfortunately, he didn't quite have enough in the bank, not enough intel to work with, and not much time either. So unfortunately, for Homeless, they will drop their first round of the map. Did take 5 rounds, but has finally happened, and maybe RMA will be able to salvage something here, try and head into the half with a 4-2 scoreline and give themselves every chance to try and gather some more points.
Yeah, and as I was saying before, potentially they could just be attack-oriented team. And so if they, as you said, if they are able to turn around to 4-2 at the end, I mean, potentially that's might be all they need if they are able to take home all of their attacks as well.
You can stop worrying about grenades.
Set up here from RMA. Looking relatively standard so far. I like the fact that they are bringing that Maestro. There's Evilize played quite a critical role in how map number 1 played out. Hasn't quite had that same impact in map number 2, but it is quite encouraging that they are bringing at least one information gathering operator
5 seconds to
on
go.
the board. We haven't seen Valkyrie, I don't believe, being brought out yet.
Attackers must locate and
Which
defuse
was
the
banned in map
bomb.
number 2, not banned here on... Which was banned on map number 1, not banned here on map number 2. So maybe there's a personal preference there, Valkyrie not being in the arsenal or not being utilized so far. But yeah, this tunnel has been left soft actually by Homeless. That allows Hayward now to come in and use his skeleton key to open that up. And looks like Stiggs is going to go for a solo entry from below. And we saw in the, previously at the bottom of the cache stairs, he was able to get something going there and help open up the main wall and get a double kill. So maybe he's going to try and replicate that here and head off on his own little adventure to get some kills.
Yes, it is always good to have your own adventure time. But interesting that they
Bomb
didn't
located
actually
by
seal
attackers.
off the construction wall onto the outside. Leaving that open gives a little bit of free reign into there, but they might be putting a bit more of their presence elsewhere in the map. It doesn't quite look like they have any roamers downstairs, which is a bit concerning because it just pretty much freely gives up that verticality play on the main wall. Even if your Thatcher isn't able to get it, see the impact trick goes down, cleans him up with a double impact onto that wall. It's just, you know, we saw that coming a mile away at the end of the day. They're able to get that open, but you see Pun taking out Dino with that shotgun, immense power coming out as he pushes back onto construction as they're trying to get in there.
Yeah, I can't believe Stig's not only hit that once, but hit that twice. Really nice entry for his team, and helps get the ball rolling as they seem to have rotated around now towards Con. Stride on the Thermite, still has one of those charges left. Could open the wall cleanly into A. There are footholds there currently, so if he goes for it, he has to be mindful of shooting him Pun from his feet. They actually manages to down him through the pixel. Can't quite finish him off, but he will with the pistol, using that pixel not only once, but twice. That's a really good utilization of angles there from the homeless member, and wow, that leaves it in a 3-4 scenario. Unfortunately, no more smoke babes can be used now as Pun was dropped, and that really puts a lot of pressure on these remaining defenders. Arlo get the headshot onto Sajion, and it's now a 2-on-4 scenario. This could well be a 5-1 half, unless RMA pull out all the stocks to manage to bring this one back. Bundy's position has been revealed as well. Shoulder almost being seen by the player outside of Con. Eventually it is cleaned up. Hayward with the final kill onto Mop, and Homeless with a 5-1 half.
Yeah, not exactly what you want to be seeing when you're playing as RMA, but, you know, they could bring it around. Definitely having that 4-2 would have been a bit nicer of a buffer going into potentially into, like, you know, having 6-1. But at the end of the day, it depends how much pressure is on them. They aren't looking as flash as they were in the last game. They look like they were popping up a little bit more. We'll just wait and see. They are bringing a Jackal on, potentially clear out those roamers. Will be good. Double Hard Breach and Thatcher, pretty standard cut dry stuff. Zofia, we see her in nearly every game. Like, this is every single time, man. On the back end, though, they brought a Valkyrie, which is nice to see. A little bit more on the information gathering side. I would like to see a bit more calls played, potentially, especially if they are playing Basement. You can potentially get those C4s that we so desire watching. Outside of that, though, just end up bringing extra cameras to the board is definitely going to help them out.
Yeah, and the mindset now for Homeless really needs to be to just continue pushing hard and don't let this switch of halves change any of the momentum that you have managed to gain in such a strong first half. Try and carry this across the defense, and I guess if there's one thing going their way, going from attack to defense is arguably easier than going from defense to attack. Homeless are able to sort of play their game a little bit more and force RMA into them and into their own mistakes in a way. So look, we'll have to see how RMA approach this. Unfortunately, it's such a big ground deficit, it's not looking great for them, but that also can be a little bit dangerous. They don't have much to lose here, and if they just do the full send here in the second half, maybe they'll be able to throw Homeless off here. Again, so desperate for these points.
Yeah, if they are able to bring it around, it's definitely not going to be looking pretty for Homeless. They really do need to crunch out some extra numbers to keep themselves in the position that they're in. That was a very quick Hibana charge by Sega. Yeah.
Clear.
Hayward, though, from the top of blue, he managed to collect Bundy, so that's Thatcher off the board. Not going to have a massive impact on this round, as Homeless actually haven't brought any hard breach denial, so not too much to worry there for the side of RMA. It's just going to be one less fragger left on the board. Unfortunately, though, for them, not quite having that refrag potential that we saw from Homeless. They were refragging most of their kills across these first few rounds. Unfortunately, though, for RMA, they can't collect it. Looks like Mop's going to go in late and try and get this player off blue. Hayward's still holding strong. It won't be the case, though. And we are now almost approaching the halfway point of the round. Mop rotates down towards the window, trying to put even more pressure on Hayward, who's still playing in this position. They need to try and pull off the pinch here, but it doesn't look like it's coming through. Drone finally comes out, and Hayward gets Lucifer. The intel's too late. He should be able to rotate back to site, but he's going to go for the third. Doesn't quite get it. Mop will be forced into the vault potentially, as Hayward's still going crazy at the top of blue. He finally is shut down, though. Strider, though, gets Mop, and there we go. It's a 4-on-2 for the plant scenario.
Yeah, it was really bountiful plays coming out. Only 2 members of RMA left on the board. They're going to have to really pull out the stops, as we do see Dino taking out Sagon, that's definitely not what you want to be. Solo Thermite player, Legion Mine in his foot. He's going for the balls to the wall play. But if he can make it happen or not, it's going to be another thing. Stiggs is waiting for him to come around the corner. I don't think he's quite going to find it, as he is potentially going to drop down. Modo nearly flashing himself, getting the pre-fire down. Not quite able to find him. Basic's coming around the corner. Not quite there.
Yeah, Pun just stuck inside of Moto now. Needs to hit 4, get some initial shots there on to the Legion, but can't complete the job.
15 seconds to go.
Dino cleans that one up nicely. Homeless taking round number 7, and they are on the verge now. Going home with 4 points, unfortunately. Again, map number 1 was a draw, so not ideal. But this comeback here on map number 2 has been quite nice. Match point, of course, for Homeless now. They will be heading to CCTV and Cash to try and close this one out. And look, I think the earlier this one ends for them, the happier they will be. Just try and head home with at least some points on the board. Unfortunate circumstances leading to them having to sub in a player on map number 1, and unfortunately didn't quite work out for them in the end. But I think map number 2 definitely been a lot better reflection of where they are as a team, as a unit, and looking pretty strong so far.
Yeah, they really only need to bring home this last round, and as I was saying before, you know, that Cash is probably one of the better sides to be playing on at the end of the day. It is significantly hard to get in. Like, after the rework, you know, people were messing with strategies and whatnot, and everyone's come to this pretty much same agreement. You hold a guy in garage, you hold a couple people on site, bandit trick the wall, and whether or not if your batches are banned or not, you know, it can be pretty hard to get through that main wall. This Valkyrie pick at the end of the day, though, I think is very beneficial, even though a couple of those cannons going down early into the round give you an extra bit of info. Bundy nearly getting his face cleaned off. C4 coming out. Oh, Jesus, that was such a clean throw. Dino taken out. The poor Thatcher, that's, as I pretty much just said before, that's going to make it significantly harder for them to take that main wall, which they really do need pressure on. All the Hibana charges going down onto the garage wall, trying to get them pressure in there, potentially that they can come up and take it from a different angle.
5-on-4 scenario now, a minute 50 on the board. It's looking pretty strong for Homeless so far with that man advantage. Once again, it is the Thatcher off the board, and it's going to be a little bit more critical on this site than it was previously. That main wall going to be definitely compromised now. A strong hold from Stiggs on that bandit should see it pretty well defended, unless Mop does go from below. It sounded like potentially maybe a Zofia charge just went off. Pun now will open that main wall, so that will be successful. Arlo though gets Mop after he does get that Zofia charge off. It's a 5-on-3 scenario. Let's see, trying to collect the player on balcony will be unsuccessful, and there we go, it's a 4-on-3 now as Hayward's off the board. Trying to bring this one back now. RMA, they have the potential, they have the fragging potential, but it looks like Homeless still with a strong intel gathering game. They have the Pulse here on Strider, who will be calling out that player near Garrow. Still have some cameras up from the Valkyrie, presumably. Dino would have thrown them out during that preparation phase. So I don't think Homeless will be short of intel here, and should be able to close this one off quite quickly.
Yeah, that 4 versus 3 scenario, they still do have the Jackal on the board, but I don't think he's going to quite be able to find Strider, or he's in that position to really find out where he is, as we do see Strider pretty much he's picked up where all the last 3 remaining are, as they try to close it down. 25 odd seconds remaining on the clock. And Smoke Babe's coming out, preventing them from going anywhere. They can't go through that window. They really need to get through this wall.
15
I don't
seconds
think
left.
that they have quite enough time, as we do see Pun crawl through, try to get the diffuser down. There's a lot of gunfire coming out underneath, but the big flank coming out. Tagon taking out the double kill onto Arlo, and only one member remaining. He doesn't get the diffuser down,
Operators
and that's
have
going to
run
be
out of
GG
time.
well played, coming out by everybody. Homeless has taken it 7-1.
So close in the final stages of that map, but unfortunately for RMA, it wasn't quite enough. Homeless able to hold on there, and they'll leave this evening with 4 out of a possible 6 points. So not the worst case scenario, but could well come back to bite them. They didn't have the greatest map 1. RMA played really, really well. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite replicated there on map number 2. As we have a quick look at our replays, a couple of nice plays here and there, and overall, a pretty fun map to watch.
Yeah, a couple good clutches came out throughout it. That flank at the end, though he did get a couple picks, it didn't quite secure them what exactly they needed. This is what I was talking about before with the Hayward straight through the construction, even though he got picked off straight afterwards. It was such a big pick. Really allowed them that push onto Cash and open it up for him. I think that RMA played really well overall. They just need to pick up on those last couple of little inner workings, and they could definitely go far.
And that play from Stiggs there, the use of the lifeline to get 2 kills across 2 rounds, so impactful. And there was some really nice showings of individual performances as well. Hayward played really strong on top of Blue, and this flank from Sajan, I thought that RMA might have been able to bring that round back, but unfortunately it wasn't quite there, as the result was, of course, a 7-1 victory in favor of home. Was quite decisive in the end. And look, I think coming out of today, Homeless will probably be pretty content with how they performed considering the circumstances, but I can't help but feel that this could be really costly, because those top 3 spots, only 2 of those going, of course, to Pro League, super close at the moment.
Yeah, definitely Homeless trying to crunch in those last couple extra numbers as best as they can. They're definitely going to have to play a little bit better. Hopefully not having to bring in a sub in the next couple games that they do play in. Potentially that. I'm not saying that was the reason why they lost the first one or tied in the first one. They didn't lose the first one. But I do think it was a played part in it. At the end of the day, they potentially will go far, and they've just got to consistently be on their A game and keep going.
Well, yeah, of course, having a quick look at the standings here, it's going to be Rhythm and Homeless who are provisionally secured their Pro League spot. Still quite a few play days left to go, though, so nothing on screen here really set in stone. And yeah, Rhythm, of course, on 16 points. They've got a really decisive lead now and really should be able to hold on. It's looking really tight there between Homeless and Cryptic, and could well come down to those 2 fighting for that second spot. Yeah. Any thoughts on sort of the standings so far, or anything overall?
I think overall, Rhythm is definitely taking out significantly amount of their games, and they're doing well. I think they're going to stay at the top of the ladder for a fair amount longer. Potentially, they might have a little bit of difficulty if they were they came up against Homeless before. They tied 1, lost 1. Homeless did, I'm pretty sure. But outside of that, they're going very well. I think it's going to be very similar. Homeless might jump up slightly if they are able to maintain those sort of quick plays. Outside of that, I think it's going to be pretty standard.
Well, that has been our Playday number 6 for ANZ Challenger League. I've been Guz. Red has been alongside. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll leave you with some highlights and enjoy the rest of your night.
Peace out.
Bye.